We are next going to hear from Beth Haynes. She is a physician who has devoted her career now to restoring healthcare freedom. She founded an organization called the Black Ribbon Project to bring attention back to the importance of preserving freedom of choice for patients and for doctors, and works with Docs for Patient Care, a physician membership organization determined to replace the AMA as the voice of practicing physicians. It's a dirty little secret that the AMA, like the American Bar Association for lawyers like me, it's just another leftist political organization that really doesn't do much for its members. So replacing them would be great. So finally, our doctor works with Doc Squads, which works to train doctors so they can speak intelligently about our healthcare options. So Dr. Haynes, if you will.
Do this without glasses. That'd be great. Thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. You inspire me to keep going with this fight. I'm here today because I want to talk about one of the greatest tragedies in America today, and that's a tragedy that doesn't even have to be there. That's the tragic state of our healthcare system. Most of us don't think about healthcare until we actually need it, when we're injured, or when we're sick, or when our insurance premiums go up. So we only pay attention when things go wrong. But this is a huge, huge mistake, because we are dependent for our lives and our functioning on having a good healthcare system. The more we have plentiful, affordable, and reliable medical care, the more we're able to concentrate on the rest of our lives. And that's the story of our dominantly free market economy. The story of producing more, cheaper, more reliable everything. And it makes our lives better. What we need to do is let the medical entrepreneurs free to put their ideas and their dreams into fruition. We have to let them find ways to provide more plentiful, reliable, affordable, and convenient health care. And that would open up a whole world of possibility. The blind could be assisted to see. The crippled could walk. We can find a cure for cancer. In contrast, if the healthcare industry's productivity declines, medical care will become more expensive, less available, less convenient, and each of us is going to be more vulnerable to the ravages of illness, injury, and aging. Well, just like anything else in life, there's good news and bad news. And the bad news is that in many ways, American medicine is already declining. Affordable insurance is progressively being outlawed. Think about that. Affordable insurance is being outlawed. And in fact, true medical insurance is being outlawed and being replaced by prepaid health care, which is much more costly. The development of life-saving and life-enhancing innovations are increasingly being delayed or made prohibitively expensive because of onerous regulatory requirements. Private practice physicians are retiring early and selling their practices to hospitals and large corporations because the cost of running their business is going up while their payments are going down. You guys know that all of your utilities and expenses have gone up in the past decade. Well, so have doctors, but Medicare, Medicaid, and insurance companies are paying them less. And the cuts that are coming are even greater. And on top of all those cuts in pay, the requirements for reporting and other regulatory burdens are increasing. Well, in addition to all that, we've got promises that we've made to seniors, and not enough money is coming in to be able to keep those promises. And the icing on the cake is the president's new health care law is going to make all of this much worse. So that's the bad news, and it's only part of the bad news, but it's all I want to spend time on bad news. Fortunately, there is good news, and the good news is that none of this is necessary. America has never had greater potential to provide affordable health care for its citizens. But that potential is being held up by misguided policies. Policies that are doubling down on the very mistakes and incentives that created the problems that we have in the first place. The problems of the uninsured, pre-existing conditions, stagnating quality, and expensive premiums. What we need is a system that's going to unleash the entrepreneurial creativity of medical professionals, of insurance underwriters, of medical device inventors, hospital administrators, all of those. Right now, you may not be aware of it, but we have shortages in very, very vital medicines. This is a horrible tragedy. There's no shortages of cell phones. Why would we have a shortage of vital medicines? Another thing to think about is, why is there no homeowners insurance crisis? There's a health insurance crisis, why not homeowners insurance? Well, the answer has to do with how intimately the government is involved in all the details of each of those industries. Access and affordability come from an abundance of resources, not cutting. Governments can take and divvy up wealth, but they don't create it. We need free enterprise to create wealth. Right? Do we want medical progress at the speed of human creativity? Or do we want medical progress at the speed of government? Which way do you think is going to save more lives? Well, part of it's knowing what system we need in order to create those abundant resources, but that's only part of the solution. The other is, how are we going to relate to each other as members of a community? And even our country is a huge community. Much of the healthcare debate has centered on how awful we feel and how awful we should feel about the fact that so many people don't have access to affordable health care. But caring is not enough. We have to understand how we got here so we don't keep making the same mistakes, right? Turning to government for a quick fix of things has become an automated response for lots of people. And the proponents of government-run healthcare have created a very powerful image that has gripped many of our generous and compassionate countrymen. And that's the image of, either we have to have government coercion to solve this problem, or we're going to let people die in the streets. But that is a blatantly false alternative. People are going to suffer and die in government-run healthcare just as they will in any system, because our needs for medicine and health will always outstrip our resources. And there's no such thing as free healthcare. There's no escaping the fact that somebody has to create the goods and services for medicine. Somebody has to pay for it, and somebody has to decide what medical care is consumed. And the only real choice we have is who's going to make those decisions. Is it going to be a government bureaucrat? A politician? Your neighbor? Or you? Okay, that's what I would like for. So, to end on a positive note, because in fact, I am more positive and more optimistic about this country than I've ever been in my entire life. In the past 3 years, I've heard more discussions going on amongst just general people about Constitution and individual rights than I have ever heard before. Think about it. How much have you heard those kinds of conversations going on? And the key to solving our healthcare problems to affordable access are those three principles of the sponsors of this rally: that of limited government, free markets, and fiscal responsibility. Well, I want you to know about a couple really great organizations that are working to preserve all three of those principles and applying them specifically to freedom of choice in healthcare. And that's my Black Ribbon Projects, which just gives an easily recognizable symbol for those values. Docs for Patient Care, which is a physician membership organization, and as mentioned in the intro, is working to replace the AMA. Do you realize that only 10% of physicians belong to the AMA, and yet it is considered the voice of America, American physicians? It is not, and we need to change that. And also doc squads, which is a new group where we're training physicians to be able to come out and speak intelligently about healthcare issues in this very crucial election year. So you can come to a rally, they're really uplifting, you hear great speakers, but we're not going to change anything unless you actually act. So one of the things you need to do is find these organizations that are doing good work and support them financially and spread the word. So check out our table, we've got lots of information, lots of other groups do here too. And just to end with, I want to give you a glimpse of our medical future, about some things that actually exist today. Because we are, in fact, on the verge of all those advances that I mentioned earlier. There's computer chips that can be put in the back of an eye and allow blind people to see. That exists, okay? There's devices that can be implanted that allow a deaf person to hear for the first time in their life. That exists. There's robotic arms that can connect up to a person's own nervous system, and an amputee can work that robotic arm using their own thinking. There's external robots that allow paraplegics to walk on their own. These things are available. Now they're uncommon and they're really expensive. But when I was in high school, calculators weren't available to the general person. I had to do chemistry using a slide rule, and I'm not that old. I'm really not. What we need is the same kind of freedom to innovate and freedom to develop and freedom to offer at a price that is worth that investment for our medical services, so that we can see those really expensive, life-enhancing, life-saving things come down in cost and are available to everyone. We need to protect these modern miracles of medicine, and we need to create that system of freedom to propel us into a future of medicine that it's absolutely, we can't even picture at this point. So don't just listen, get out there and act, because if not now, when?
Thank you, Dr. Haynes. We appreciate you coming out today, and there's maybe no more important subject today than healthcare and the ramifications of Obamacare and all that, so this is very important stuff.